Okay,
Okay,
let's get on with this then.
okay. So, thanks again for the interview and congratulations for first of all for the release of the More Inspirations record from Saxon.
Yeah,
So, my first question is about this particular record because
yeah.
it has additional versions of songs that have inspired the band. So, did anything change in the selection of the repertoire compared to the first Inspiration album?
No, no, we just wanted to let people know what inspired us and what influenced us. So that's the story behind it, really. You know, like for instance, Detroit Rock City, Nigel was a big Kiss fan, so we put a Kiss song on there for him. So he was part of the Kiss Army back in the day.
Yes.
So yeah, different things really. Me and Paul used to jam Cream songs in the 70s, so that's why the Cream song's on there. So there's a reason for every song really. There, bands that inspired us or songs that influenced us. That's the idea.
Yes, and well, one that I really like it was the version of Man on a Silver Mountain by Rainbow. You did a great job. Uh, what's your connection to the song?
Well, we the things with the Rainbow, they were around before, they were around in the 70s really. Um, And we toured with Rainbow in the UK in 1980, not with Ronnie, but with the other guy. And but I met Ronnie James Dio in America uh, on the Heaven and Hell tour, the Black Sabbath Heaven and Hell album. So I thought it would be nice to put in a song, that Ronnie did, and a Rainbow song because we played with them in the early days. In fact, they kicked us off tour, Rainbow,
Mm,
because we were going down too well. So he took us off tour.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
we turned up at Wembley in our van, and they said, no, no, Richie doesn't want you on tonight. So we said, okay. So we went into London and got drunk basically.
Yes, and well, still talking about this record, I need to ask about the Gypsy song by Uriah Heep because I
Yeah.
think it was very good this version that you did. So, do you have any stories with the guys of the on the of Uriah Heep?
Well, we know Uriah Heep quite well because we're on the same label, and we do meet a lot.
Mm.
The guys we went to one of their weddings, so we're quite close to Uriah Heep. And I saw Uriah Heep back in the 70s with Deep Purple, and I love that very heavy, very humble. That is a great album. That's a great heavy metal album. Really, there's some great guitar riffs on there. So I think we have to include Uriah Heep from our influences, definitely.
Mhm. Yes,
And
and
we didn't use any keyboards, which is
yeah.
unusual for a Uriah Heep song, like Deep Purple. Uh, so yeah, we did it all with guitar. So I think it sounds pretty good. It's very heavy version, I think.
Yeah,
You know.
heavier than the original.
Yeah, well that's when you don't have keyboards and you just have two guitarists, it does sound heavier.
Mhm. Yeah, and talking about guitars, well, Saxon is coming to Brazil and this time without Paul Quinn. So, how does this affect the live atmosphere of the band?
Uh, we're pretty excited with Brian in the band, really, and you know he he's worked hard to learn all the songs and to become part of the band. I mean, we've done quite a few shows with him now, so I think his stage presence is pretty good. But don't forget he's a bit of a metal legend anyway, Brian. So I think it fits in really well. It's from the same period, the 80s, and he worked with Paul a little bit and Doug and Nibs to learn the songs, and to basically do the finer points on the music. But no, I mean, I think people were very excited to see him on stage. You know, it's great.
Okay. And well, this year marks the 40th anniversary of Power and the Glory record, right? If my math is not wrong.
Yeah, so they say. I mean, I don't count these things, but I did see on Facebook that somebody said it was the 40th anniversary of Power and the Glory. Yeah, we will be playing Power and the Glory in Latin America, so you know, you can tell everybody that we will be playing that song.
Okay. Yeah, I want to ask you, what's your the strongest memory that you have from composing and releasing this record back then?
Well, it was our first record after, you know, after sort of after big 80s albums. That was our first record, really. So yeah, it's a great album actually. The first album we did outside of Europe, because we did Denim and Leather in Sweden at the ABBA studios. So we had recorded outside England, and we recorded in America with an American producer called Jeff Glixman. So it was good. It was good. You know, I think the album's strong. I think there's some great songs on Power and Glory, and it was a very, very popular album, Power and Glory. Yeah.
Yes, and well, you recently collaborated on the song Saxon and Vikings, right, by Amon Amarth.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts of the outcome of that collaboration?
Well, we know Amon Amarth for quite some time. I think we met them when they first started arriving on the scene. We did some festivals with them in Italy, and we went out drinking together. You know, Saxon and Vikings, obviously. And yeah, we got on really well. So we stayed in touch. He sang on a song on a Saxon album called Predator. So you know, they asked me to get involved with the writing of that song, which I did. So I think it turned out pretty good. You know, I like the song. You know, a lot of people think it's the best song on their album, but I don't think that's because of me. I just think the song's great. It's very, very riffy, very sort of Saxon maidenish type song. So I like the song. Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of your project, the Heavy Water project, with your son, right? So how, if you can tell us how was the process of, well, of composing and recording this new record, Dreams of Yesterday? It might be different because, well, it has family involved. What can you say about it?
Yeah, I don't think the process of recording is any different. I think maybe the writing, because it's not really Saxon style music. So the writing's a little bit more old school and modern, you know. So it's a very eclectic sounding album. You know, there's different styles on there. You know, so I enjoyed doing the album with Sebastian, with Seb. I mean, he's a great songwriter and he's a great singer as well. So we get on well together. And you know, you know, I let him handle all the studio work so he can learn how to do it. So it's very good for him, I think. Yeah.
And what lessons in, well, in the world of music did you learn from your son during the experience?
I don't think I learned anything musically. I think you know, the songwriting is the songwriting process is different with Seb than Saxon because we can have a wider style of music to write. Yeah. So we wanted a more 60s style sort of sound. So I think that's what we went for, really. You know, it's getting a bit dark here in England. I'm going to put the light on, yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Biff, looking back, what was the most challenging moment in your career and how did you overcome it?
I think the most challenging period in our career, and a lot of British metal band's career was the sort of early 90s, late 80s when the, a lot of hair metal came in. Then your Cinderellas and your Motley Crues and your Poisons, they seem to take our style and make it their own style, and they became very popular. But I think when the grunge happened over on the West Coast, that made a big hole in a lot of our audience. I think a lot of rock fans, especially younger rock fans, went to they went to see Pearl Jam and Nirvana and people like that. So I think that that sort of American new wave of grunge thing,
Yes.
went around the world like we did. So I don't see any problem with it. I just think that our time of being at the top in that style, was over for them. We came back later. I think in the 90s we came back again strong. But
Okay.
I think really that was the hardest point for a lot of bands. I think most bands. I mean, we were very lucky because we had some big hits in the 80s, so it kept it. We were able to play live. But I think the album sales went down, and maybe we weren't, writing such good songs in the 80s, maybe in the late 80s. Like Destiny and things. So yeah, I think really until we got the solid ball of rock, I think that's really when we started to turn it around again.
Uh, yes. Yeah. Well, yes, that's interesting. And well, if you have to pick, for example, 5 records that have the most impact in your life, which ones would them be?
Well, the first one has to be Wheels of Steel Saxon, I think. Because
Yes.
that's the
Fair
album,
enough. Fair enough.
that's the album that went crazy around the world. But I think the Machine Head, Deep Purple, uh, you know, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, AC/DC, that album. I think uh, definitely Black Sabbath first album. Um, I think for the guitarists, I think the first Van Halen album
Mhm.
was a big thing. If you were a guitar player, I think that made mountains, move mountains. That and possibly, possibly for me, one of the early albums by the Rolling Stones had a very big impact on me. I think. But
Okay.
I like the Beatles when I was little. But I probably preferred the Rolling Stones. They were more rebelistic for me. They were looked more like they were a biker band than the Beatles were. The Beatles were
Yes.
like more of a girly mum's band, I think Rolling Stones are a bit more, yeah, you'll kick your door in.
Yes. And what about outside the rock and heavy metal world? Any artists that somehow have impacted your music taste,
Well,
something like that?
I think a lot of the American blues, early blues, because I was a bass player, guitar player back then, when I was like 15, 16 years old. So a lot of the a lot of the early rock and roll, like Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard and Elvis Presley and things in the sort of late 50s and going into the 60s. It was very influential on me. And then the Beatles happened. Uh, so yeah, I grew up. I grew up in the 60s really. You know, that's when my the middle 60s when I was like 15 years old was a great period for music. You know.
Yes. Well, Biff, thanks for the interview. Please leave a final message to your Brazilian fans.
Yeah, we're coming down to Brazil finally. We've had COVID and we've had some health problems and stuff, and we've had people leaving the band, touring, and So yeah, now we've got everything together. We're coming to Brazil, and it's it's like the Motorhead song, "Going to Brazil," right? So we're coming down there, and we're going to. I think it's going to be really special. When we hit the stages, we're still on the Carpe Diem tour, so it's going to be seize the day. Oh yeah.
Okay, so well, see you on the road. Good luck with the tour, and well,
Yeah,
have
we'll
a
see
nice
you
day.
down there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have a nice evening for me.
yeah, for you it's evening. Okay.
Okay, let me show you. Good night.
Bye bye.
See you later.